Okay, today, so we're going to look at rates from graph. So a rate compares two quantities, and so and it shows like a change over, you know, a certain amount of time. So what that means, if you say like a speed limit, if you're going 20 k's per hour, that's like a rate. So, and a rate is the rate is actually the gradient in practical questions, yeah? So if you hear them talking about the rate, that's actually talking about the gradient and things like that. All right, so the gradient of, so this is probably our important fact here, is that the gradient of the line is the rate. So up here, when they're doing distance over time, if we worked out this gradient of this line, so what they did, they used the rise over run method. So they started here at 0 and then they finished here at 2. So they said they went up a rise of 100 and then they went across a run of 2. So that's where they got 100 over 2 here, and then it was 50 kilometers per hour. So that's the gradient of that line. Okay, so I could say if I had to find the gradient, m would equal 50 for that one. Okay, so let's just go. That's pretty much all we need to know, is that if you see a rate, it means gradient, and we'll do some practical questions. So let's start. So a car completes its journey, which is described in this graph. So here's the car. So the car is it's like it starts here. Okay, so for the first hour, find the total distance travelled. So all we have to do is just go and read off the graph. So after 1 hour, it's travelled up there. So it's made it up to 60 kilometres. Sorry. So we'll write that. So the total, it's 60 kilometres. Now, when it says what is, in the first hour, what is the speed? So the speed is actually a rate, which we know is the gradient. So what we're going to do for this first one, 2i, we're going to find the gradient of this first line here. So I'm going to use the points way like we did yesterday. So this point down here, this starting point on that green line, is 0, 0. And what would the point here be? What's its x value at that point? If I said this was x and this was y, what was its x value? Good, 1. And what's its y value at that point? 60, good. So, because I'm asked to find the speed, I'm going to use, I know it's the gradient, so I'll use that gradient formula first. So, and I'm going to use those 2 points I just found, which was 0 and 0 and 1 and 60. Okay, so I'm going to say this is x1, y1, this is x2, y2. So off I go, I'm going to find the gradient. It's going to be 60 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. So it's 60 over 1. So its gradient is 60. Now, because it's a speed, we just write what it is, kilometres over whatever this one is. So kilometres per hour. And there we've found the speed. Okay, then we have to look at this next part of the graph, and it says, how fast was the car travelling during the first hour? So we've already worked that out, 60 kilometres per hour. And what about how fast was the car travelling through the second section? So they're talking about this bit here. So if you're sitting at 60 kilometres away from where you start, and then after an hour you're still 60 kilometres away where you start, how far did you travel in that blue section? How far further did you go? Did you go anywhere?
No.
No, you didn't go anywhere. So how fast was the car travelling in that the second section, it was traveling 0 kilometers per hour. And remember the other day we said a horizontal line, this is a 0 gradient, isn't it? Yeah? So it's a 0 gradient, that blue line. So we're going to say it was traveling at 0. Now the last one, then it says in the third section, so this third section I'll highlight with purple. Okay, so we know if they want me to find out how fast it's going, that means I need to know the speed, and remember the speed equals the gradient. Okay, so I'm going to use this formula that you were doing yesterday. Okay, and I'm going to go find 2 points. So this point here is at 2 and 60. What's this point up here? Who can tell me? Looks like 4 and
240.
2. Yeah, good. Now remember the x has to come first. All right. So we're going to use those 2 points to find the gradient, which is essentially the speed. So I'm calling that x1, y1, x2, y2. So we'll pop it into our formula. So I've got 240 minus 60 over 4 minus 2. So 240 minus 60, 180. 4 minus 2 is 2. So what's 180 divided by 2? 90. So that in that second one, he's going, whoever this one, the car, it's going 90 kilometers per hour. Now, does that purple line look steeper than the green line? Say you were walking up it, would it feel steeper to go up the purple line than the green line?
Yeah.
Yeah. So steeper means it would be a bigger gradient or faster speed in this case. So the purple line, it's 90, and remember the green was 60. So that would make sense. All right.